Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Film Nerds Hour.
You are now listening to Nerds Hour. Amateur Hour. Please, allow me to show you something. Let's get to work.
Hi.
Alright, so, today we're going to be reviewing Boss Level. So this is one of your picks.
Yes, you're welcome, America. No, I saw the trailer and I was like, this looks like something Noah would direct, so we should watch it. And I was like, where the heck are we going to watch it? And turns out Hulu has our back, and it's on there.
I didn't think it was originally supposed to be
It wasn't.
on Hulu.
It wasn't. It was just supposed to be a direct-to-DVD release.
Which I really hope it'll still be.
Yeah?
I really want to get this on Blu-ray.
Well, it'll still be released, hopefully, but I imagine it would.
I tried to look, and it didn't look very optimistic. It looked like Hulu was going to try and keep it for themselves.
I mean, it's technically a Hulu original. Technically. Now, because they bought the rights to it. Because they thought it looked good, which I like that.
That's the problem.
What do you mean? You're just a selfish bastard.
I want to add to my collection, because it's very much worth having.
Yeah, but at least, like... I know this is, like, the weakest argument of all time, but I'm glad more people get to see it now than likely would have.
No. I'm saying, like, you could have released it direct to DVD and still put it on Hulu.
Yeah.
Do a hybrid. You're still going to make your money.
Yeah, but it definitely gets more publicity if it's a Hulu original. And that's probably, as far as a business aspect go, probably a smarter decision. But we're not here to talk about, the complications of streaming platform logistics, because we're not in that field yet.
Yeah, we're here to talk about
Boss
you
Level.
guys. And
You
your love of this
specifically.
movie.
Yes, you. Yeah. Okay.
Pre-order. Well, I'm for sure this price is going to go down.
Are you pre-ordering the movie?
No, because you didn't let me finish there.
I know I didn't. That's funny.
Because it's sold and shipped by Amazon, so it will be official. But right now, what they're trying to do the pre-order from right now, $37.99 on DVD.
For what?
Boss Level.
Oh, okay.
And $46.99 for Blu-ray.
Meaning that the manufacturer probably stopped mid-production.
Well,
so now the
it'll-
DVDs and Blu-rays are rare.
Well, it'll go down. Because, I mean, that was the thing with Psycho Goreman, too.
Yeah.
Like, right now, the Marksman, they're trying to sell for $30 on pre-order. And we all know the Blu-ray is not going to be $30 when it hits stores. So it's for more of those people, I think, that just want to get the DVD and know that they have it.
Huh.
But I'm not going to pay that much.
That is him. Okay, sorry. I agree with you, 100%. We don't have that kind of money to toss around. If we did, we probably wouldn't be doing
Still probably wouldn't do it.
Yeah, oh, wow.
I mean, if we were doing it for an on-day review, then for you guys, yes. But typically, that's still pretty steep to spend on one movie. So.
Makes sense. But, hey, great cast. Can we talk about our main man, Frank Grillo, who doesn't get as much love as I think he should? The man is brilliant.
Yeah, and to which, for those of you who don't know who that is...
Most likely you know him as Crossbones.
From the MCU.
But, he's also been... He was also what made the second Purge movie, Purge Anarchy. He made that movie great.
He was also in Beyond Skyline, which is the second movie in Skyline series.
He has a thing with sequels that he does really well. He also has a show called Kingdom where he's a mixed martial arts fighter. He was in The Grey. I totally forgot about that.
See, I haven't seen that yet. It's on my list.
Yeah. He was in Black and Blue, which I still have yet to see that film, but he attests great movie. Great movie.
It's good to know.
And then that's the show he did. Did you ever watch his Netflix show Fight World?
Nope.
So he goes around the world studying martial arts of different cultures. It's like a docuseries that he did with Netflix.
Him and God, who plays Johnny Lawrence? Why am I blanking out?
William Zabka.
Yeah.
Yeah, what about
him? They need to go on a martial arts tour. Because William Zabka, he ended up learning martial arts after Karate Kid, unlike...
Yeah, he actually learned it.
Ralph, who did not.
Ralph just kind of wanted to continue acting.
Yeah, which is totally fine. I mean, I didn't have an issue with that.
No harshness in that. I will say, if you want to... Did you ever see his movie on Netflix, Point Blank?
Whose?
Grillo's.
Oh, no.
He did a movie with Anthony Mackie called Point Blank on Netflix. It's got 38% on Rotten Tomatoes, but I enjoyed it, so...
Is that an audience score, though, or
it's
critic
score? Critic 31 is audience, actually. So I think, for once, the audience score is actually lower.
Well,
but
formulate your own opinion still.
I enjoyed it. But, yeah, I just wanted to give Frank Grillo love, because he does his own stunts. He's a badass, and I don't think he gets as much credit as he's due at this point in his career, don't you think?
I agree. The man is very talented, and... this movie definitely proves that he can range. Because this movie is, another movie you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, some people say he can only play the stoic, muscly guy. And while I will argue if that is true, he plays it well. You can at least say that, you know?
Right. You know, that is one thing, though, that I really did admire.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I did really admire about his character was... one thing that I really admired about his acting ability is it really made it seem, because because of his performance, it really flipped the movie on its head. Besides it not being what you would expect it to be, after all, and that was the same thing with The Hunt.
Yeah.
Where it was genius the way that they did it, and of course the critics don't like it. But I actually was surprised that critics didn't just badmouth this entire movie right out of the gate. So
right,
actually was pretty decent of them to give it a chance and be like, hey,
you know. Yeah. So this is definitely worth a watch. Yeah,
and like we said, it's a Hulu exclusive now because of their rights. So nowhere else besides Hulu to go check it out. So as well.
And we got Mel Gibson and Naomi Watts, two great actors of their own. Ken Jeong, which a lot of people probably know from Community or the Hangover movies. He's hilarious. We have Will Sasso. I was like, whoa, it's Sasso. Awesome. He played Brett, the big security guy. Because I knew him from back in the day, because he was on Mad TV, which was like the poor man's SNL. And he's a great comedic actor.
Never really watched Mad, to be completely honest.
Really? Okay. That's fine. And another person who I just noticed in the credits here, and then realized, holy crap, that is him, is Rob Gronkowski. He was the machine gunner on the helicopter.
Interesting.
Oh! That... Frick. I keep finding out new things about this movie. You know how there's the German twins?
Yep.
One was played by Quentin Jackson. He was a mixed martial artist known by the name Rampage.
Not ringing a bell.
He was in the... that guy? He was in the A-Team movie?
I haven't seen the A-Team movie yet.
He's been in a lot of stuff, but he... Yeah, I was surprised to see him in this, so that was cool. But anyway, this movie, if you're confused about the premise, I would say maybe watch watch Groundhog Day.
I wouldn't do that. I'd watch Happy Death Day.
Happy Death Day. Yeah, well,
it's a much better feel for this movie rather than
as far as like violence goes. Groundhog, I'm saying as far as like the loop premise. Groundhog Day is a pretty good benchmark for that. As far as understanding what the heck is going to happen when it's going to happen. You know what I mean?
I guess, yeah.
Like the idea that like it's the same day looping over and over and over again. Which, we haven't said. Okay, so spoilers at this point ahead. For the movie. For Boss Level. It's on Hulu. If you have it, watch it. And come back. And if you don't care, just stay. I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you know, like Groundhog Day or something Hulu released last year, which I enjoyed, Palm Springs. Or Edge of Tomorrow, actually. Edge of Tomorrow might be a good, like, benchmark, because it's also an action movie.
I would say, yeah, if you're looking for that.
Yeah. Happy Death Day, I would say for violence, too, because, again, it is the same concept. I just feel like Groundhog Day and other stuff like that did it first. You know, they kind of, like... They're a good introduction for the formula of a repeating day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Groundhog Day, I think, was the first one to do it, as far as I know.
To my knowledge, I can't remember.
I mean, it was in 93, so who knows? We could be wrong. But, us being wrong, when has that ever happened? But, Frank Grillo's character, Roy, it opens up with him lying in his bed, and he narrates throughout the whole movie, which is a nice touch, I will say. You all right?
Yeah, just thinking.
Okay, don't do that too much.
Yeah, don't fry out my brain in the first few minutes.
Exactly. He's lying in bed, and then we see like a machete almost hit him. So it's like, and then you hear him narrating like pants, shirt, slap, left, right, and it's like, oh, okay, so he's done. This has happened to him so many times that he's memorized it.
Which is like any other boss battle that you basically
because this has like, I was wondering where it would come in, but it's later on. This has a very video game feel to it. That's why it's called Boss Level. But there's like another section in it where video games play like a pretty important part of the movie. For at least how he understands it, because he does describe it as like you're stuck on a level of a video game that you can't get past, and it's freaking annoying.
It's not like Scott Pilgrim type.
No. It's more this is more you described it as Grindhouse, which I can agree with that.
Yeah, it felt more like something you would be Grindhouse, just less gory.
Like you see him get decapitated a lot, and you see a lot of good fake heads, and a lot of good blood splatter.
Yeah, which I mean, like I said, not incredibly as gory as you think. We're not talking about Kill Bill style where it's just spurts of fake blood.
Yeah, this isn't The Hunt where there's like guts and gore everywhere, you know?
Which, that movie is still pretty tame for what it is.
Depending on your, like, criteria. I found it to be a bit much at times, especially during that beginning sequence, but, you know, if you're benchmarking it against, like, Texas Chainsaw, then
I
yes,
benchmark it against what it would be as an R movie of that nature, and I'd say for that nature of what it is, it's pretty tame.
It's more violent, like, gore expletive than, say, The Hunger Games, for sure.
Well, it's R. It's like your step up. It's like the junior, not quite senior year version of Hunger Games.
It was like...
kind of like The Purge, but The Purge has less gore than that.
Well, The Hunt was like... Here's how I put it. It was if Battle Royale had the budget for special effects. Because, you know, back then, they would have wanted to do what they did, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I still just saw it for its time and what it is. I just saw it as one of those not as it could be, just because I've seen enough
that movie...
kind of films of those nature where it's like, it could be... You know, and that's what I was expecting from Boss Level when I first saw it. And I was like, you know, this is actually pretty damn tame with the blood for you know.
I'm saying for, like if your benchmark is, like, the Marvel movies, this might be a bit much. Like, I'm not trying to insult you in any way, shape, or form. That being said, you have watched a lot of movies, so I feel like you are very desensitized to blood and violence. Would you maybe agree with that?
Yeah, well, I view it from the scale because I know who I would start off with that,
Yeah,
and who I wouldn't.
because there's a scene in this movie where the main character's on an escalator, and we just hear a slice of a sword, and then we see his head plopping down. And I don't imagine, like, that's not something I'm used to seeing by any means. And I'm not sure as to
I would say boss level is not your average compared to The Hunt. I'd say this is above it, just in terms of squirting gore.
Yeah, this is more practical.
This is
which I like.
more practical.
I did not see one CG, besides the explosion, I did not see one CG effect in this movie.
I think for some of the heads they might have done a little bit, but it wasn't enough to really...
No.
It's like more of a touch-up.
Yeah, they wanted to focus, like, they wanted it to be, like, on the real. That's why when you when people get shot in this movie, there's, like, the little, like, almost plume mushroom cloud of red. Because, yeah, there frickin' would be. Like, it's not just going to be, like, you get shot and then blood starts dripping out. No, it's like... Because that's what happens when a solid impacts a liquid at high velocity.
And even if it did, it would be lodged in. And that's the only time it would do it. If you have a small bullet.
Exactly.
And it's lodged.
It seems anatomically correct, is what I'm saying. Like, to an extent.
They made everything about this movie. I mean, there's even a scene where a car flies up into the air and you see it get destroyed on its way down, because that's what would happen to a car. A car's not like GTA where it do that. And I'm glad they didn't do the bullshit where it blows up either.
Because it wouldn't blow up immediately, you know? It would take, it would leak gas and then it would take a spark or a fire, you know? And, like... Well, and I love when he tries to ram the fence, and he gets in a car accident, and it looks horrible, and, like, he gets hit with the airbag, and he's disoriented, because, yeah, that was...
Well, his whole freaking eye is bleeding, too.
Yeah. Or the beginning, when he's in the car, and then he gets hit by the church bus, and he flies through the window and dies. Because you would.
Man, he goes into shock even for a little bit.
Yeah, he's like, I'm fine, praise the Lord. Just like, his face is all fucked. Yeah.
Yeah, the blend of comedy and serious emotional feels.
Yeah, it does get very emotional.
Frank Grillo is able to portray and display in this movie is just absolutely amazing. And it really shows that they really should have gave him more time as Crossbones, because there's a lot that they could have explored there. And hopefully they'll do what they did with Loki and eventually, because I was thinking about that today, like maybe they should give him a plus series.
Well, hey, you never know, he might pop up in, because it's a separate timeline, so he might pop up in the Loki plus series.
Yeah, which I hope they maybe start to think about that with the Netflix series instead of thinking that's great to retcon it. Cause...
I would like to know in the MCU why Crossbones is the way he... Like, I want to see him go from, like, a wide-eyed recruit to a Hydra agent, you know?
Yeah, like Frank Castle.
Yeah.
The Punisher series is highly rated for a reason.
For a reason?
It actually did the Punisher perfectly.
Well, like, there's another movie that I'm going to have you watch later on, which is the 2004 Punisher. And I've talked to you about that before, how it's like, oh... They killed his family, but he's getting revenge, and it's gonna be tits. And the Punisher series is more realistic, where it's like he needs therapy. You know what I mean? Like, he has PTSD and doesn't sleep.
And I like that. I like that a lot more because it makes the revenge scenes more impactful.
It touches on it in 2004, but it doesn't make you really feel it. You know, it just makes it feel like he has no emotion. But I like it. I like it all the same, just for different reasons. But yeah, so Roy, he's been in this loop for... What's the first benchmark? It's like 50 days? We get all the way to 500.
Something like that. I don't completely remember because we have a couple of flashbacks where it shows what days are which. So. Yeah.
Well, I'm bummed out we never get to see the first day. Because I want to see how that first day went with the fight with the machete guy. You know, when he didn't know what the heck was going on. He probably just got decapitated immediately.
Yeah, for a comedic standpoint, yeah. I personally wouldn't have wanted to see because I feel like it would have derived away.
See, I want the progression, you know?
Because I mean, you already spent a majority of the movie building up, so I don't think there would be a good place that it would fit.
Yeah.
we are talking. This is a little over your average standard runtime of a movie. It is an hour and 41 minutes.
Although I'd shave 5 for credits, so probably like an hour 35. 34 maybe?
About 4 or 5, probably. I mean, I would say it's less than that because it is an indie film, so you don't.
I was just gauging off the fact that when you look in the corner on Hulu, they say the next time until your next thing starts, and
That's true.
it was however many 100 seconds. So I think it was definitely over 300 for sure.
So, I mean, it is.
It is what it is.
It's a fairly standard movie. It's not runtime.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it was perfect the way they cut it.
Yeah. I was expecting this to be a popcorn movie straight away. But it actually had a story that actually, like, to a degree, made sense for this world anyway. Not realistically, but for this world. And like I love the details of it, because they keep everything consistent. Like, he has the same jacket at the beginning of every day. It's clean and perfect each time. Same car that they definitely destroyed a bunch. So I'm wondering, from what you would say, is having like the same settings and the same like wardrobe and everything, from your perspective as a director, do you imagine that be cheaper on a budget or more expensive?
As the same wardrobe? No.
Same wardrobe, same cars.
It'd be cheaper.
Okay.
Because the more you can use your costume, basically, I mean, that's what they do in Star Wars, too.
It looks like they had, I'm assuming, multiples of that jacket.
You always, I believe every set has multiples, because anything could go wrong.
No, but I mean, this is an extension of that. Because he literally wears the same jacket every day throughout this whole movie.
I know, that's what they do for a lot of them. Like Finn's jacket that you see in Star Wars, there's multiple ones made.
I guess you're right.
Because if anything happens
it kind of looks
to
like
that,
Finn's jacket.
Yeah, because like, well, if anything happens to those jackets, to the one, and you don't have another one, you're screwed.
Yeah.
So there's multiple tailored ones, different ones that they will use to weather down.
Yeah,
depending on the condition. Like, you know, there's one scene where he gets shot, just like you see in the trailer, to explain how many times he just keeps dying
shot
over
a bunch.
And they probably did the makeup for all that on an extra jacket, because everything is custom made usually for costume wardrobe, depending on what it is.
What about the cars? How expensive do you think it was to have that many top-down Dodge Chargers?
I mean, it depends.
Because those cars get fucked.
It depends if they were just using old junker ones. I mean, what the budget? Let me take a look at the budget, because I mean, it can't really be that expensive if you're still doing it as like a mini feature.
Yeah, I mean, as far as setting, it's a single set.
The budget was $45 million, so I can't doubt they really spent a lot.
It's modest. I mean, again, those decapitated heads look amazing, so I'm assuming a lot of that is visual effects budget.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine that they'd be too outrageous with practical effects budget.
Yeah, but with this movie, I don't know, because the whole thing's outrageous. You know what I mean? Just in general.
Talented. I mean, from the shorts that I've worked on and seen some people with, it is pretty amazing what they can do with the smallest bit of talent. And you would be surprised just how, like, we had somebody, and it was like, oh my god, you could do that with just an hour of makeup time, and it was like, yeah, it was like, it's like movie quality, like feature film quality. So I mean, I think it just depends on who you have and what their talents are. Because there definitely is a lot of makeup throughout that movie.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, the blood splatter effect, for sure. For sure.
So, but no, I think they probably just had a very talented team that knew what they were doing, because you can't really do a movie anyway with people who don't know what they're doing as well, because that would... I would say, like, you know, like, it's kind of like looking at John Carpenter's Thing and looking how long they had to spend on it. And how, like, the prosthetic director...
Right.
Because they had to work on the whole design of it, what it would look like, what would work, and they ended up spending, like, 2 months on that. So I would say probably the same thing went here, but it's got to be much easier just to make a mold.
right.
and a body. And they probably used that same head for multiple shots, and whatever dents it got, like from the stairwelling scene, just buffed it out and redid it.
Because you've seen the shot with him, with Frank and Mel Gibson, like taking that photo together with the fake head. It looks exactly like Grillo. Exactly.
I have not seen it, but I don't doubt it, because that's usually pretty accurate. I mean, I was on a set, and I got to see one close up. We had a hand, a severed hand.
Oh, yeah.
Felt like what it would feel to hold a real severed hand.
That gives me the heebs and the jeebs.
All the way down to, like, the little follicles.
Yeah. Follicles?
Follicles that you see on the hand. It was awesome.
Yeah. How does that head look?
Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah, it's real good. And it looked like everyone had fun with this movie, too. That's always refreshing.
Well, I couldn't imagine that wouldn't be fun. I mean...
Well, it's just, I don't know. You hear so many stories about shooting a movie with Mel Gibson. Because he's had his issues in the past with just, like, you know, attitude. But it's like, I feel like he's gotten better.
It's Mel Gibson. I would kind of expect it from him. But...
Yeah.
Then again, he's an older dude who's kind of earned his status.
Like, I swear, I've never seen him smile like that before.
I have a couple of different times.
Not at this age, though.
No, on the set of Daddy's Home.
Oh, okay. Well, like, what was the one... He did one where there was a big... I don't want to get too much into it, but there was, like, a controversy where he was getting interviewed. And the guy was like, well, it's great to see you doing the movie, and glad to see you back at what you do. I hope you have a good day, Mel. And he responded with, bye-bye, asshole. And I was like, is he just a curmudgeon old man, or was that a joke that no one got?
No,
There was a point in his career where you could tell visually he was pretty upset.
No, I think it's just being old and being an action movie star.
Yeah.
Because you get associated with that. And personally, for me, like somebody like Harrison Ford, I don't think they should complain as much. I understand why you have a variety, but you have two major franchises on your back, so you can pretty much get any work and expect people to watch it. Like, people are going to watch Robert Downey Jr. in the next Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, guaranteed.
Because he's done great, and that's what lured him in, because he did so well in Iron Man.
Like, how many people watched Doolittle because he was in it? You know what I mean? Just because of him.
Exactly. So I'm like, that's the thing, though, when it comes to those 80s action stars, though. I don't think people like Harrison Ford realize how much harder it is to get out of those than a sci-fi franchise.
Yeah. Well,
because you're really stuck more so in an action movie. Yeah. And those are either hit or miss.
Yeah, Arnold knew that big time.
Arnold knew that. So Stallone knew that. The Rock is basically... Rock and Vin Diesel...
Yeah, you're never going to see...
...are the new Arnold and Stallone. And not just because they argue a lot and they're powerhouses of men. But they both... And that's the funny thing. Because why Sylvester Stallone and Schwarzenegger were arguing is because they were both big hunky men with a career on their shoulders because they were bodybuilders and wanted to do acting.
Yeah, I mean, like...
That's what happened with Vin Diesel and The Rock. They went head to head because they both came from a low income, society,
And
they came from a low point. Yeah, and they both worked their way up.
Yeah.
But they never saw eye to eye that way. Vin Diesel saw The Rock as some person who got thrown into the franchise, and it's like, okay, he gets thrown into my franchise, and all of a sudden he's the star now?
Yeah.
I work to be here. And The Rock is also like, well, I also work to be here.
Yeah.
I went from basically fake wrestling to a movie star, something that I wanted to do.
Yeah. Scripted wrestling.
Scripted, yeah.
Yeah, not fake. So, I know people like to say wrestling is fake. Wrestling is as fake as Game of Thrones, okay? It's
still scripted.
It's scripted. That's it.
Very rarely is there actually any non-scripted violence.
You want to see non-scripted violence to even a little more extent? Maybe not. Watch the UFC then. Watch boxing.
I don't even know if that's scripted.
Exactly. I don't know.
I don't think it is. I think it's raw.
Yeah, it is. That's what I'm saying. You want to watch unscripted fighting? There's your options. But, I can't imagine I can't imagine what Mel's career was like after Braveheart. Because he must have known in the back of his head, like, that was his peak.
Well, that and The Patriot.
The Patriot as well, yeah.
See, that's the thing with a lot of these action stars. That's why I'm applauding Frank.
Yeah, because he's leaning into it hard, man.
Because he's now went from Crossbones and is still finding good work to do.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, for that, it was like Beyond Skyline was one of them because that came out in 2017.
He revitalized that franchise.
Which came after, which I've seen none of the Skylines yet. Ooh. But we both know I have all three, and I'm excited to see even the first atrocious one.
I'm curious as to what you're going to think is a better movie. The first Skyline or the second Pacific Rim? Because it's going to be a toss-up.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, afraid so.
But, you know, he coming off of Civil War with barely any screen time as Crossbones
and now he's the star.
Great.
I love him being the star.
Yeah, he revised a franchise which can be considered either an indie or big budget film. I just consider it indie at this point.
Skyline?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, now
because it went to an independent route, and I think that's kind of already where it was. If it couldn't even grasp its legs.
They got him and Iko Uwais, and they were like, "Why don't we just take the aliens and do badass martial arts?" And it worked.
I mean, it's awesome. I mean, that's basically what they did with Tom Cruise in War of the Worlds, just minus the martial arts. They just were like, what can we do with Tom Cruise to give him a lot? Yeah. And let's just give him a bunch of action scenes, but make them tasteful so he's not just an absolute powerhouse.
Tom Cruise also made $100 million off of that movie because he was smart. He didn't he got points. He didn't want a salary. He got points. So that way he's a part of the production. The movie isn't happening without him, so he gets a bigger cut because he deserves it.
Yeah, the man's smart.
Yeah, the same with
Downey.
I
don't believe in his Scientology, but
no. We're not getting into his religious views.
But no,
makes great movies.
I do like to think, because that is something that I do like, is that Mel Gibson is kind of doing these, and he was surprisingly not in this movie as much as you would have thought he would have been.
No, not a lot of screen time for Mel.
So
he was menacing.
He was menacing, and you'd expect that. I mean, the man, I never knew he had crazy eyes to begin with until I saw Lethal Weapon, and I was like, see, the blue eyes, they like pierce your soul. And
they really do.
And there's one scene in Daddy's Home 2 where that is specifically what they do. They get a close-up of his eyes just staring down Dusty and whoever Will Ferrell plays.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And that shot, freaks me out because, literally, his eyes look like glass.
Yeah.
It looks like he's gonna stare at you
until you die. Until you die.
It looks like scarier than Superman's eyes turning red. I shit you not, guys. Go look at it. His eyes are
subject
just,
our audience to torture.
I'm
it's
not
terrify them.
But it's holy crap. Mel Gibson, if he really wants to play someone intimidating,
he can, and he does.
He can. I think him as a person is just intimidating.
Yeah.
Because he seems like one of those people who may be in his 70s, but he will fight you.
Oh, God.
He will fight you.
He will fight you, and he will be glad
probably
to do it.
Win.
Yeah.
Probably still
He'd
win.
kick my ass, that's for sure.
I mean, I kind of like how people are always like, Liam Neeson is the fake guy of action movies. I'm like, you gotta think that man has learned some sort of stunts.
Listen, the man stopped being a teacher because he got in a fight with a student, okay? I feel like he knows what he's doing, okay?
Exactly.
I feel like he was a badass before he got into film.
That's what I like about that one Family Guy episode, which is a discussion for another time. But there is one where Peter calls him a fake guy and they get into a fight.
Yeah, of course.
And it was awesome. And because Seth MacFarlane and Liam Neeson are friends, he also got him to voice Liam Neeson, which was so great.
Yeah. He was in A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Yeah.
But
no, I think Mel knew that getting away from Lethal Weapon and going from that to such a high, more surreal realism type of film.
A historical
drama film, on both ends, that he both directed and won awards for.
Yeah, he's a great director. I will say, I've never seen a movie that he directed that I did not like.
Which I've never seen Braveheart or The Patriot yet.
You seen Hacksaw Ridge?
Not yet.
Ooh.
But I've seen parts of it. I know I have that Andrew Garfield, that's an intense movie.
Yeah.
I think it's only $5 at the Target by me, so I might go pick it up soon one day. But
I like how we keep referring to him as Mel, as though he's our bud. Sir Gibson.
Don't worry, Jesse Eisenberg's not on the show. He's not gonna bitch us out.
He would too.
Why are you referring to him as Mel like he's your friend?
No, I'm just doing it. I'm just being Jesse for a second. Mr. Eisenberg. God damn it.
No, but it was nice to see him back and see him in a role. I wish we would have gotten more of him.
Yeah.
I feel like this movie really does set up a sequel, though.
Maybe. I don't know.
It leaves it open.
Because we get, like, just montage after montage after montage of Frank Grillo's character, Roy, dying in horrific ways. He gets shot in the dick at one point. To which I'm like, no. I don't care what you want to know. You threatened me with that. I'm telling you all of it. Like, I'll never give you the codes. Point a gun at my dick. All right. Calm down.
I don't know why he didn't just shoot himself more if he's just going to boop. Oh, I'm going to die anyway.
Yeah.
Boop. Because he starts doing that eventually.
Yeah. He gets to a point of depression to where I'm like, Jesus, man.
Well, it's also like when he knows he's going to die already, he's like, I'm not even going to bother with you people having the satisfaction. He shoots himself
in the head and they're all just like, that was fucking weird.
It reminded me of the Vat of Acid episode is what it's called from Rick and Morty season 4.
Yeah.
Where the mob bosses are just like, holy shit, but his grandson. And that's what made him kicker. I was like, if they would have had something about somebody else, I'm sure that then they would have been like, oh shit. But I just love how they were so nonchalant, like, that was easy.
Yeah.
Perfect time for a that was easy button. That would have killed that scene. If they would have put that was easy in there, that would have made that scene even better.
MK11 has one of my favorite that was easy moments. Because they're going to fight Geras. And so Kung Lao, this is all foreign language to you, he throws his sword hat, his bladed hat, and decapitates him, and he falls over, and he gets his hat, puts it on his head, and goes, that was easy. But Geras, he is at a fixed point in time, which means he cannot die. So his head, which is off of his body, turns into sand and reforms on his body. To which I'm like, fuck that, no. I'd rather fight a Terminator.
At least a Terminator you can tell is dead because their eyes will shut off.
Right. Unless Skynet added a feature where their eyes shut off to make you think they're dead.
Which I don't think they've ever done. They might dim a little bit.
Skynet is smart enough. She'd do it.
No, it.
Well, most often, Skynet was played by Helena Bonham Carter in Salvation, the worst Terminator movie. Second worst.
I wouldn't say Salvation is the worst.
Yeah, I said second worst because then I remembered Genesis.
I respect Salvation a lot more than I think people give it credit for.
We can all agree. Everyone on any kind of spectrum, no matter how you stand on the Terminator movies.
Judgment Day goes first.
Yeah. Second one is the best. 1,000%. Then the first one, and then we figure it out.
It's a...
First one's classic.
Yes. But
boss level, sorry. So
speaking of Terminator though, if you guys love the action scenes and the absolute batshit crazy window break jumps and everything,
yeah,
this has a shit ton of that.
No slow motion, I will say.
No. God, I was actually happy about this. Another way to look at this movie is if you've seen Daniel Radcliffe in Guns Akimbo, which we'll definitely have to cover on here. This movie was like that, but if it had the time loop aspect.
Yeah, and if the main character looked like he actually might be able to kick someone's ass. Sorry, Daniel, but in that movie...
Well, that was the idea.
I know that was the idea, but...
And he didn't have his hands nailed to guns.
Oh, God, I'm sorry. Realistically, infection would spread in that movie and his hands would have fallen off. I'm sorry, realistically.
Who said they didn't? That movie had a very bleak ending.
Probably.
That's all I'm going to say.
Anyways. Because we get a lot of characters in this movie. Because he's been going through this death loop a long time. So he knows all the players. So we
are 8 assassins, I believe?
Something like that. We got the 2 German twins. Which kind of just, they wear shades and knee-high shorts and shirts and just shoot him while saying German things. We got Roy number...
Saying Sherman things.
Yeah. We got Roy number 2, who looks exactly like Frank Grillo.
Eric Adabari.
Yeah, yeah.
And he looks like Simon from frickin'... He kind of looks like Simon in this picture from American Idol.
Yeah, yeah. And we got Smiley.
Pam.
Smiley's in it for 3 seconds. He's not in there for long, but he's the redneck guy who drags him.
Who's played by Michael Torek.
Yep. We got Pam, and who's the girl who's the driver? Who I swear,
Gabriel?
No, it's a girl who's driving Pam around.
Yeah, Gabriel.
Or is it Gabriella?
That might be how you pronounce it, yeah, Gabriella.
Yeah. Those are and then we got Guan Yin, who is the only person he knows her actual name, because every time she kills him, she says it. I am Guan Yin, and Guan Yin has done this. Did that ever get old for you? Because it did not for me.
No, I was just like, because there's poetic justice behind it.
Yeah, it's great in the end, yeah. And it's also just like, if you were an assassin who only killed people with a sword, and you were that freaking good at it, you would have a line. You'd have a catchphrase.
Yeah.
We got Kaboom. He's a shorter fellow, but he just throws bombs at him.
Well, no, he more sticks on him, yeah, and it's just like...
That's my favorite. He sticks it on him, and he goes, "The fuck?"
What does he call him, like a midget or something, too? He's like,
yeah, I think he
doing, you weird little
it,
midget?
He says it once, but, like, his character, I wouldn't put it... He's not... He reminds me of Johnny Lawrence in the Cobra Kai. He's not going to take 5 minutes to be politically correct, you know?
Right.
Sorry if that word offends anyone. And then... God, that's it, isn't it?
Pretty much. There wasn't a lot of assassins in this.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
But I liked how they were all unique and they weren't just a bunch of basically horny gun trigger white dudes.
Right.
That were just like, oh, guns.
Like,
oh.
I would see a character and be like, oh, that's...
Yeah, they all were unique, like, and diverse, like John Wick.
One of my favorite scenes is him telling Pam to drop the gun, and she's like, "No, I bought it for $500,000." It's like, you bought the gun for $500,000? Yes, in the barrel, the silencer. There's only 6 in the world, so that was $250,000. So you have almost $1 million gun in your hand. Yes. All right, just hand it to me. And then she reveals that it's Hitler's gun. And he has a great line where right before he shoots her, he goes, "That's for the Jews."
Well, after.
Yeah. He like shoots her. He shoots her a couple times, and then he stops, looks back, shoots her again, and says, "That's for the Jews."
Which was perfect.
It was lovely. It was lovely. There's a lot of moments in this movie where I really genuinely crack up.
Well, I just love how she thought it would be a great idea. What's the worst shit I could possibly do? Oh, I know. Let's get the person who killed millions of people for no reason and then deck out his gun to make it look all cutesy and awesome.
I love the recollection because we're at loop 250 at this point or something, and he's like, "You've been killing me with Hitler's gun this whole time?"
Yeah, which, just to mention, at this point, basically, what you kind of get to get you guys caught up to speed, the basis of it is, eventually he keeps learning, and eventually he realizes that he has a tracker in his tooth.
Yeah, because he's realizing he doesn't make it past, like, 12:45, at, like, noon, 12:45.
Because, and
he goes to an underground bar.
He goes to an underground bar.
Later on in the movie, he goes to an underground...
And he learns there, but he also gets a book from his ex-girlfriend.
Yes, so let's mention the day before here.
Yeah.
Real quick, because that is important. So he goes into this building, because his ex-girlfriend has... he says wife, so I'm guessing maybe ex-wife, possibly.
Yeah.
She's getting him a security job, which, that's nice, but it's really a cover for the fact that she wants him to help take down these horrifically evil people. And there's a part I love because the day before, she cuts off a bit of his hair because she needs his hair, and the rest of the movie you see this just bald patch on his head. Did you not notice that?
I wasn't looking that closely.
Yeah. There's definitely like a patch where it's like there's no hair there, and that's because she just snipped it. But they have a lot of dialogue. He talks about how he wants to see his son. He's like, "I want to know him," and she's like, "You should have gotten to know him when I had him, but you ran and like became a boozy asshole." And he's also special forces.
Yeah, he's ex Marine. So I mean,
Delta Force, I think, is the term of his unit. Which, all right,
which
nice.
is understandable.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, yeah, you can tell.
So continue.
Yes, so you get the sense that this is kind of a person who's closed off emotionally because all he's done his whole life is drink and kill people, which you would be. Stands to reason, right? But
fair enough.
You get the sense he wants to change. He wants to be better, and he wants to at least like be around for his kid. His kid knows him. He just doesn't know that that's his dad. He knows it's his mom's friend.
Yeah, which I like the fact that he still respects her and him enough,
right,
to not drop that ball, even with his own personal reasons.
Exactly.
Because I know somebody whose dad, which they're not a good person, but if they had not known that was their dad, they definitely would have just dropped the ball and been like, "I'm your dad.
Yeah.
Love me," and it's like,
no, that's not how it works.
No.
You got to work for that shit.
Which them working to be a father wasn't really existing either, but
like Frank Grillo's character Roy, he's actually working for it at a point in the death loop.
Yeah, which is what makes this movie so emotional, but we'll get into that later because that needs to be something that we talk about. We
definitely need to talk about it for 1,000%. But yeah, for the first 30, I'd say you just see him get killed in many, many different ways, which is very entertaining, of course. But his ex, she gives him this book, and it's like a history book reading about the Egyptian god Osiris. You with me?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what the machine she's working on is called, the Osiris Spittle?
I don't remember how to pronounce it.
Spindle. The Osiris Spindle. Sorry, I'm getting emotional.
Well, yeah, it makes sense because it goes roundy round.
Yep. So he puts together that Osiris, he was the god of death, and his, I can't remember her name, the other Egyptian.
I can't remember her wife,
but she made him the god of death. So it's kind of like it's an analogy for the fact that he can't die in this death loop. So that's why she took his hair, because he specifically can remember everything that's happening and everything that's going to happen, and then. So she made that possible because she knows he's the only person who can stop these bad guys from using it. You know, because with this kind of technology, you could definitely use it to just, like, plan out a perfect heist, you know, topple a government, you know. Stuff that would take years and years of planning, you can just do by repeating the same day over and over and over again until you get it exactly perfect. It's very dangerous technology. And we saw that there was, like, slots for, like... Because she just put his in. There were slots for like 5. So can you imagine having a whole team of people? Like imagine you, me, Braden, Angela, and someone else. We all kept living the same day over and over again.
Which would be horrifying.
Yeah. In a way, I'd get a lot of TV show watching done. I will say that.
That's fair. But why? I'd rather freeze time at that point.
Fair enough, I suppose. Or just not need sleep. My God, if we didn't need sleep.
But we all saw what that did to Stan Smith's family if you watched American Dad.
Right. Yeah, that would drive you insane. Although Judge Dredd, he just sleeps for 10 minutes a day, so who knows? That's also a comic book. Also, American Dad is also fictional. But anyways. Yeah, so this machine's dangerous. Is the point we're trying to get across. And...
world-ending consequences.
Yeah. And he's going through this death loop, and then he wants to see... No, he ends up going just to this random skate park place to read the book, to try and, like, get some more, like, sense of what's going on. And he sees his son, and he follows him because he knows his son is supposed to be in school today. But his son's ditched to go to a gaming tournament, to which I was like, awesome.
Seems like something I'd do if I wasn't the goody kid.
Me too. And that's also how we start to find out about his tracker, because he starts walking around TVs and fucking them up.
Yeah, like they go completely static, and you're sitting there like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah. And I'm like, is he a robot? Is this a simulation? What's going on?
Well, no, I already knew he was in some sort of experiment, so that's why I was like, okay, what did they do to him?
Is it glitching? Yeah. But he ends that loop with, because he realizes, oh, I've been alive longer in this one than I have in any of the other ones. And then he gets shot and tells his son that he's his father, which he gets more opportunities to do later on, but he doesn't. And I feel like that's definite, like...
Respectful.
Well, it's respectful, yeah.
But it's also fearful.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to... He says himself, he doesn't want to just drop a bomb, you know?
Well, also, God forbid, if something were to randomly change, because while he's still trying to figure this out, it could be stuck that way forever.
Exactly. And, like...
So I like the idea, though, that he spends his quality time and uses this to his advantage for what he could essentially use for anything else, but he uses it to get closer to his kid.
He used it for a few tries to just bond with his kid. And that's lovely. Like, they play Street Fighter and Centipede and Galaga together. And it's like, that's adorable. It's a lovely bonding time. Yeah, because I will say, he acts like a pretty good dad in this movie. Like, I believed it. I believed it 1,000%.
Very much.
Yeah.
And that was, like, the best part, is it really... He really sold the dad.
Mm-hmm. He sold that he cared about Naomi Watts' character for the brief time she was...
As a family man, and not Nicolas Cage reference.
Right, exactly. Thanks for that. But he showed he really did care about this...
Hey, where's the chocolate cake?
Stop it.
This chocolate cake?
But the big reveal is because he thinks that she died yesterday. But he finds out he was awake and she died like 14 minutes after he woke up. And that's when we get the awesome sequence of him like just grabbing the helicopter near the end, taking the minigun and just
killing all the assassins.
Yeah.
During his time too of
he learned how to use
constantly
a sword.
dying, he learned how to use a sword so he could fight
Guan Yin, because the thing was he kept getting to the base where Brett was at, because he found out the tracker was put in by Brett specifically because he slept with a dental hygienist. She put him under, and they put a tracker in his tooth, which he found out thanks to his friend from the bar, Dave. Who, that is a hilarious sequence. I don't care who you are. Him just using pliers and pulling out teeth and showing, is this the one that has the tracker in it? Because he asked Dave, he's like, where would you put a tracker? He goes, internally, I would put it in a tooth. And he's like, I need some pliers. And some alcohol for the pain. And then he shows, he's like, yeah, that doesn't look right. Break the tooth. And he breaks it, and it is a tracker. And then he gets shot in the face.
But I mean, at least he knows which one it is, so he
tooth.
doesn't have to pull out his
So
tooth
he can
again.
just pull out the tooth, break it, perfect. Or he uses it as a lure sometimes,
He uses
too.
it as a lure so he can kill the other assassins earlier on a couple of times.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And interrogate.
Yeah.
As well. But go on. Yes. So when he starts attacking the base where Brett is, first time he doesn't even get in because the car gets destroyed trying to ram.
Yep.
Then he flies over, but he just sent the car over because he's just going to blow it up. But then he gets in the building and gets shot in the elevator. Then he tries to sneak in by disguising himself as the guy who looks like him, and that doesn't pan out for a few tries. But then he keeps getting to the point where Guan Yin is there. And there's a great Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark reference, which you didn't even know about, that piece of film history.
No, which was nice to know.
It's awesome. So he talks about it. I was like, you know how Indy's going to fight the dude with the sword, but then he doesn't because he has a gun, and he tries shooting her, and she freaking Matrix jumps away from bullets.
No, he is out of bullets.
Yeah, he runs out of bullets the first time, but then later she starts Matrix jumping over his bullets when he thinks, maybe this time I'll pack more bullets. But she stabs him and goes, just so you know, Harrison Ford had the shits. That's why that scene happened, which is true. He was not doing well indigestionally, so when the time came for the fight scene with the big sword guy, he just shoots him, and they kept it in.
Which was much better than actually seeing a fight scene.
What's better? The fact that that fight scene is solved by using logic with a gun, or the knowledge that you now have, which when watching that movie you'll think of every time, I guarantee it, because I always do, that Harrison Ford had to shit really bad during that scene.
Both.
Okay.
Because Either way, that scene is genius and way better than a fight scene.
Yeah.
Because it's logic like, oh, wait a minute, I have a gun. Guns go boom boom.
Yeah, exactly.
And go faster than swords. Bam. Bye.
But she keeps jumping around, and then he like gets 2 guns, still doesn't work. She cuts his head off, I think 11 times in this movie.
She has a decapitation kink.
Yeah. He points out as well in that scene, swords hurt more than bullets, and the worst part is pulling a sword out.
Well, yeah, because you feel all your guts and everything inside going with it.
It hurts to think about. Like, I play a lot of video games, so I like to think I could be a warrior badass with a sword. No. And anyone else who's thinking the same thing with the same reasoning, no.
It's the same thing when you think about it. If you get a paper cut, that hurts a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah.
Than somebody punching your fingers on a table.
Yeah.
Because it's smaller.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's concentrated. So imagine just having a perfectly... Like, can we also... Like, you guys gotta know, her blade is so sharp and perfectly taken care of that it goes clean through without any blood.
Clean through bones. And there's not... Yeah, another great Mel Gibson line when he uses it to cut off Roy's head. Oh, there's no blood. Is this a katana? It's a Chinese sword, you racist.
Honey, it's a sword.
Yeah, it's a sword.
Is what he says.
Come on.
But no, literally, you just gotta think like a big paper cut, but if it was metal and concentrated in one place.
Exactly. And he pulls a Bill Murray from Groundhog Day. Because if you've seen Groundhog Day?
Nope.
So in the movie, he every day starts learning the piano. So he gets a little bit better and better and better and better. So when he learns from this woman, he starts off by saying, I've never used a sword before. And she goes, I'd only have the day to teach you. That's all I need. So they start learning hand to hand, and then they start using wooden swords swords.
Well, it's wooden swords.
They're practice swords that are often used in
dojos.
Dojos. There's a particular type of sport that fascinates me, and I want that. It'll come to me. But they start using that, then they start like degrading to like more realistic weighted swords and then actual swords. And my favorite bit is it shows the dialogue of like, I've never used a real sword before. I've used a real sword a little bit. I'm very close. I just need a little more training. And like, so it's showing the different dialogue he said to her to get her to train him more and more and more and more and more. And that's great.
Yeah, and eventually, there's so much he could have learned, and it's kind of awesome to think that, because he's going to remember all this knowledge, too.
Exactly. It's to the point where he gets cocky with it. Like, he's just using it one-handed and just like, da-da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, you're a master.
I prefer to use one hand.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's just like a showcase thing as much as it's just...
Practical?
Yeah, because your other hand is in the way. Instinctively... You know, if you don't block with your sword or somebody knocks it down, you're probably going to use
Kendo.
your hand.
Sorry, Kendo. That's the sport I was thinking of.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, instinctively, you're going to put your hand out. So then there goes your fingers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've seen this before.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what they were basing Star Wars off of. They watched that for the choreography.
Well, Kendo is fascinating. Like, the sport itself is fascinating. So... If you notice when you look at the sword there, I zoomed in a little bit. Do you see there's a very thin string?
Yep.
Yes. So the reason that's there is the refs who are watching make sure that you hit with the other end. Because that's supposed to represent the fact that it's a samurai sword, so the other end is blunt. So if you hit with that end, you don't get a point. Because you wouldn't kill someone.
Fair.
And the other part is there's a lot of honor to it. So there was one guy who lost a point in a tournament because after getting the point, he did this. For any of you listening, he made a fist and like thrusted it inward, so it's like, yes! And they took a point away because that was dishonorable and it seemed cocky.
I mean, it is.
Very strict sport. Very strict sport.
If you go on the battlefield and you're like, yes! The chances are you're going to get your head chopped off from behind.
Exactly.
Yikes! Mm-hmm. Bye.
But going back, he learns how to kill her, and we get the great line reveal of, I am Roy, and Roy has done Which
He doesn't even decapitate her. That's the
no.
other...
He stabs her.
Which
in
I
the
wish he would
He
have.
stabs her in the stomach and like gracefully cradles her like they're doing ballroom
Because he
dancing.
basically did a dance around her to stab her.
Because he's a gentleman. He's a gentleman. Like, at the end of the day, he's not going to defile her body. She didn't buy a Hitler gun. She just
I mean, I like how he was
badass.
like Colossus, like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
I have done this. You're a dick.
You're fine.
Where I would have just been like, chop off her head.
Nah.
I just would have been like the Red Queen.
Well, if
off
he
their
did,
head.
If he did that, then she wouldn't hear the line.
Yes, she would have.
Oh, yeah, because...
Heads, you're still alive. That's what the other thing I was going to say. Imagine how many times you had to feel the pain of being decapitated for those 3 minutes.
I'm surprised he isn't numb to all pain at this point. Do you think he is?
No.
No?
Pain
There's
like
still
that.
new ways to kill you.
Well, think of Return of the Living Dead. The whole reason that movie kicks off
is because the zombies
because they constantly feel
pain.
the last thing they felt that caused their death.
What if you died in your sleep? Are you just fine?
You'd probably feel some sort of deathly presence, which would probably cause you pain.
Maybe. I don't know.
Because they also feel the fact that they're rotting.
Sure. Oh yeah, that's the big thing. Well, and I don't want to miss the opportunity to talk about what happens to Brett right after. Do you remember this?
Yeah, he turns him into a unicorn.
And he has the proper reaction of like if a sword pierced that part of your brain where he's like, "Do you smell toast?" Okay, I'm Nathaniel Dizzy. Now I can't see. And then he falls over and dies. To which I'm like, yeah. Getting stabbed in a, like
the most vital... The frontal lobe, the thing
like,
that literally operates your emotions and functions.
It's more instant if it was a bullet, he'd just collapse dead. But because it's something that's also, like, stopping blood part way, that's why he's still like, fuck.
That's what I liked about Come to Daddy with Elijah Wood.
Yeah!
When he gets half his head chopped off and he's walking.
And he's still walking, yeah.
Can't really tell what's going on, but he literally has half his brain. Because it's cut in a horizontal shape. So
a lot of people think any damage to the brain, instant death.
No.
Not so.
No,
You're
no,
alive
no.
for a lot longer. I would
That's why
I'd like you all to witness the little scene in Walking Dead involving Glenn and a bat.
For you guys also who are fans of Five Nights at Freddy's, you can technically live without the frontal lobe for your brain for a little bit.
Yeah. There was a guy who he got a railroad spike in his head. They talk about that in Stranger Things.
Yeah. And so and he survived.
He survived, but his personality changed because it was the section that like connects to the emotion empathy.
Yeah, same with Gary Busey.
Yeah, that's because he was a normal guy, great actor,
and his personality went from 2 to 11.
Yeah, because he had that car accident. Poor guy.
And that's why his son Jake Busey was like, "I lost my father that day."
That's also why I feel bad for like wrestlers too. Because like you hear a lot of like wrestlers or fighters or boxers like, oh, killed family and self or stuff, and like it's not.
That many blows to the head eventually is gonna fuck with you. They got hit in the head
and went crazy. Like, you know what I mean?
That's why I don't get why they still use head. They don't use that because there's a lot of face contact, especially in MMA.
Oh yeah.
It's not a matter of kicking the shit out of your opponent. It still needs to be safe.
Yeah, well, there's people who like do wrestling and stuff like that who their faces are so scarred up. Even if you slapped it, it would reopen wounds.
And what is it at the beginning of? Yeah, it's like F is for Family in the beginning.
Yeah.
Mickey, what's his face? Where he
Mickey
literally.
Rourke?
No. He literally slaps his face to get a mosquito, and his whole nose just starts gushing blood.
Yeah, that's realistic. Oh god. But then we find out like Mel Gibson's using this thing, and every day the world ends.
Yeah, after
the
a
machine
certain period
overloads.
of times. Yeah.
The machine overloads, but his day keeps resetting. So
eventually
he just kind of gives up and lets himself get killed in a bed.
Well, he learns that after killing Clive that he sent people to go kill his son.
Yeah.
So
he's like, I can either kill him, but then I won't save my son, or I can save my son and die anyway. So he's like, what the hell is the point? So there's a montage of him getting killed in his bed.
So yeah, it's like really... Deadpool and Deadpool 2, which spoils are after Vanessa dies, and he just finds multiple ways to kill himself, which Rick and Morty also did their spin on.
The most like mode of frustration from that whole scene is when the guy's about to kill him again and he stabs him a bunch of times and just yells, "Can't I sleep in? Just once!"
Right. I want to hear the screaming woman I'm basically kind of cheating with because I still love my wife.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah.
Even though we're divorced.
Exactly.
But
yeah, so when he finally does when he finds out that his wife's still alive for 14 minutes, and he hijacks a helicopter and has the guy fly there, and then he just uses a minigun to kill everyone. She tells him, if you go into the machine, the explosion will stop, but when you wake up again, if you die this time, it's permanent. And this is a part of the movie where I get frustrated, because he goes in the machine, does it, after telling her that he learned all about his son, which was
yeah,
sweet.
and kisses her, and he's like, "Well, kiss me and tell me you love me," and she does.
Yeah, it's adorable. And like that again, the montage with him and his son playing video games is sweet, because his son is the one that tells him that she's still alive.
Yeah.
But then he goes in the machine and says, "This will be easy," and you see the machete go over his face, and he just goes, "Just don't die this time." And then it's credits, and I'm like, you heard me. You were next to me. I verbally yelled. Go ahead and tell them what I yelled.
Fuck you.
Yeah. I was like, no, I want to see. Like, I want there to be, as corny as it is, I want there to be a moment of peril where it looks like he's actually going to get killed by Mel Gibson or something. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that was, like, it's the idea that he's so
Who
confident
knows?
that he could be over cocky and...
Exactly, because he's not
die.
afraid of death. He's died so many times. He's not afraid of it. That's what happens in Edge of Tomorrow. It's like Tom Cruise is getting trained by Emily Blunt, and every time he breaks his arm, she shoots him in the face because she knows he'll reset.
Right.
Yes.
Overall, I'd say it's an amazing movie, and for you guys to
Yeah.
definitely go check it out.
Yeah, I agree. The action set pieces are phenomenal. Frank Grillo gives it 110%. Even the kid actor doesn't suck, which is always surprising to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, I wanted more out of the ending, me personally.
That's fair.
And I there was humor, but there's a part of me that really wanted more humor. But you know me, that's just because I'm a joke-loving genius.
Yeah, I felt everything was appropriately paced and needed where it was needed.
Yeah,
so.
and I love the counter. Like, even the minimal things, like showing how many times it's been, what loop number it is.
Yeah.
To show, like, he's been training for this long. He's been killed by this person this many times.
Yeah, which was nice.
And I like how in the beginning he, like, gives a rundown of the day of, like, sometimes I even kill some of them, but I always get killed anyway.
Yeah, it ends up just not mattering in his case. But...
Yeah. But, I mean...
Overall, great movie. I would be open to seeing a sequel.
Yeah, I don't know... What would the title be? Because this was called Boss Level, so it's like Boss Level 2?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not.
Or maybe Boss and then hyphen Level 2. Like, it's the second level.
Probably.
Or, no, that would be too long. For a second I thought Boss Level, Level 2. And it's like, no, that's...
Don't overthink it. That's what the people who write the script are for.
Yeah. But I would like it. I would like to see, because, like I pointed out, that thing can hold multiple cartridges. So I'd like to see maybe him, his wife, and his son are in a loop.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, it's kind of what they did with Happy Death Day.
Yeah, where everybody's in a loop. Or no,
They were always in a loop, but
yeah.
it was just a matter of you finally got to see the perspective.
Yeah.
And it happened again.
Well, in Happy Death Day 2, she's in a loop and she, like, catches everybody up on the logistics of their whole experiment.
Yeah. That's a whole different video.
For a whole other day.
There's a whole different review.
But yeah, from our thoughts, I'd say, yeah, it earns its 70% Rotten Tomatoes. Not an amazing movie, but not terrible as well.
I give it an 8.7 for what it is.
Yeah, I'll give a solid 8.3 for me, personally. The special effects kill it. Frank Grillo crushes it. Didn't hate the story. I just wish the ending was better.
I give it a little bit more credit because I did like that it changed. It took a different approach than what I was expecting.
Yeah.
And I did like that a lot.
Maybe my issue was that Ken Jeong's in it, and I just expect more jokes from him than we got.
Yeah, that could be it.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, if you guys want to watch it, if you heard our review of it and still are looking forward to seeing it yourself, you can find it on Hulu. It's a Hulu original film on there now.
So, take a look for it for yourself if you stayed this long. But if not, hopefully by the end you appreciate our review of it. So
Exactly. we enjoyed watching it, and we hope you enjoyed listening and watching it yourself, possibly.
Yeah.
But until next time, he's been Noah Sweeto.
He's been Nathaniel Shoemaker.
And this has been Film Nerds Hour.
So long, everyone.
Bye-bye.